Meanwhile, tonight, Apple and Google are being asked to dump the app that is used by Saudi men to control their wives. In fact, not just their wives, but any woman they choose to control because they can, because it's legal to do that in Saudi Arabia. The app allows the men there, under something called the Saudi guardianship laws, to know where women are at all times, to notify transportation officials if they so choose to restrict their movements whenever they want, to stop them from spending money, to cancel their credit cards, to cancel their credit, to really just about do anything they want to using technology to the women in their lives. See, that means that at any moment, at any moment, a woman can find herself with no money, no way to get around, and almost branded in that moment, right then and there, with a scarlet letter. There's a group of Democrats that are now urging Apple and Google to stop allowing Saudi Arabia from using their technical infrastructure for something that they say is just absolutely abhorrent. They're right. Rachel Blevins has been looking into this story for us, and she's found that some of what we're looking at today may not have an easy fix.
It's something that was created by the Saudi government, so that tells you a lot right there. And what it does is it's a new way to govern their guardianship laws, whereas there before, women were only allowed to travel if they had the consent of a husband or a father or some kind of male guardian. And in order to travel, they had to get a signed document that allowed them to go through an airport or through a border checkpoint. Well, now they have an app, and not only does it track the woman using GPS so that men can see where they are at all times, but it also takes it a step further, and it lets men give women access to go through airports or to travel to different areas just with the touch of a button. And at the same time, they can also revoke that access by using the app to keep women from going to any airport. So let's say that a woman is running away from an abusive family. She goes to the airport. Well, by the time she gets there, her family has figured out that she's already left, and with the touch of a button, they've kept her from going through any kinds of airports, from using her passport at all, and then she's arrested and detained just for the crime of going to the airport without that approval.
Well, you know what's interesting about what you just said? Essentially, these laws were already on the books and they were being used in a more rudimentary style. But now using this technology, the same things that men have always done in Saudi Arabia to keep women down, they now can do it almost on steroids because of this technology, right? Now, what's interesting is we were told in America that the Crown Prince was restoring women's rights. It sounds like with this technology, women's rights have basically gone backward, not forward.
Exactly. This gives an opportunity for men in Saudi Arabia to be in control of every movement that the women in their lives make. You know, you look at it, and even if a woman isn't married, her father, her grandfather, her brother even can still have control over where she's growing and what she's doing. So it is literally Big Brother in Saudi Arabia in a lot of ways. And it's crazy because here in the United States, you can look up, I looked up on my phone, the app is there in the Apple App Store, and it's available to download.
Yeah, okay, but I got to ask you this, right? I mean, here's where the rubber hits the road, right? Okay, we know that the Saudi Arabians are pigs when it comes to the way that they treat women. Okay, there's no news here, there's no surprise here, but here's the point. Apple and Google can do something about this, and they're being asked to do something about this. Do we know if they're going to do anything about this?
Well, so far they talked to Apple CEO Tim Cook, and it was interesting because his response, he made it sound like he didn't even know what the app was, and he kind of gave in, well, I'll look into it and, you know, investigate it, but didn't give a clear answer on it. So it doesn't sound like Apple and Google are too concerned about this at the moment. And this is an app that has been out for a few years, but we're just now talking about it because we're realizing, wait a second, Saudi Arabia is supposed to be this close U.S. ally, and they're also supposed to be working on women's rights. So why is something like this allowed? And why are companies like Google and Apple allowing it and endorsing it when it can keep women in really abusive situations?
Yeah. Well, we got to nail down a reaction. See if you can reach out to Apple and to Google. We need a reaction from them. We have to get a reaction from them on this. They can't just respond with, oh, I don't know, I've never heard of it. I mean, that's silly. Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate the report.
I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.